Hello, compliments of the season, and welcome to the program from the National Assembly. I am Itaire Ikben. The House of Representatives has repealed and reenacted the 2024 and 2025 Appropriation Acts. This followed the expeditious consideration and passage of two executive bills from President Bola Tinubu asking Parliament to approve a review of the last two annual budgets for 2024 and 2025. The passage of the first executive bill has now repealed the 2024 Appropriation Act of 35 trillion naira, while reenacting it with an increased total expenditure of 43.56 trillion naira, to be drawn, of course, from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation. Now, the passage of the second executive bill also repealed the 2025 Appropriation Act of 54.99 trillion naira and reenacted a revised spending plan of 48.31 trillion naira for 2025, while also extending implementation of the capital components of the 2025 budget to 31st March 2026. I'm sure you want to know some of the details and nitty-gritty of the revised budgets for 2024 and 2025. So sit back and stay with the program.
Honorable Bichi is invited to present the reports.
Thank you, sir. My name is Abubakar Kabir Bichi, member representing Bichi Federal Constituency. The Speaker, I'm from Kano State. I rise to move that the House do receive the report on the Committee on Appropriations on a bill for an act to repeal the Appropriation Act 2024, an act to authorize the issue from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation the total sum of 43 trillion 561 billion 41 million 744,507 naira only, of which 1 trillion 742 billion 786 million 788,150 only is for statutory transfers. 8 trillion 270 billion 960 million 606,831 only is for debt servicing. 11 trillion 268 billion 513 million 380,853 only is for recurrent non-debt expenditure, while the sum of 22 trillion 278 billion 780 million 968,673 only is for capital expenditure Development Fund contribution for the year ending 31st December 2025. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Biodun Faleke, I represent Keja, Federal Constituency. I rise to second the motion ably moved by the Chairman of Appropriation. I so second.
Those against you say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable, please proceed and present your report. Okay, you have taken only the first report. Okay, please go ahead.
I rise to move that the House do receive the report on the Committee on Appropriation on the Bill of an Act to authorize the issue from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation of the total sum of 48 trillion 316 billion 242 million 591,785 naira only.
My names are Chike John Okafor, PhD. I represent the good people of a Himembano, Itu Boma, Ubo Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Imo State. I rise to second the motion ably moved by Chairman of Appropriation. I so second.
Those against you say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable Bichi, please proceed and lay the two reports. First order of the day is the third reading of a bill for an act to amend the Electoral Act 2022 in the name of the House Leader. Honorable members will recall that the House adopted the report of the Committee of the whole on the bill on Thursday, 18 December 2025. I therefore call on the House Leader to move that the bill be read the third time.
That the bill be read for the third time. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Minority
I rise to second the motion as moved. I so second.
Out of this motion, she say aye. Those against, she say nay. That is have it. Clerk.
Right Honourable Speaker, honourable members. To amend the Electoral Act 2022 to regulate the conduct of federal, state and area councils in the Federal Capital Territory elections and for related matters. Third reading.
This bill is read the third time and passed. The first order of the day, the second order of the day is consideration of two reports of the Committee on Appropriation, standing in the name of Honorable Abubakar Kabir Bichi. Honorable Bichi will move for their consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Abubakar Bichi, member representing Bichi Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Kano State. I rise to move that the House do consider the report on the Committee on Appropriation on a bill for an act to repeal the Appropriation Act 2024 and enact to authorize the issues from Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation, the total sum of 43,561,744,507 naira, of which 1,742,786,788,150 only is for statutory transfers. 8,270,960,606,831 naira only is for debt servicing. 11,268,513,380,853 only is for recurrent non-debt expenditure, while the sum of 22,278,780,968,673 only is for capital expenditure development fund contribution for the year ending 31st December 2025. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Dennis Namode Abu, FCA. Mr. Speaker, I represent the highly enterprising people of Ibueze North today in the Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Enugu State. I rise this morning to second the motion assembly moved by the Chairman of Appropriations. Mr. Speaker, I so second.
Say aye. Those against, you say nay. That is have it.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that the House do consider the report on the Committee on Appropriation on a bill for an act to authorize the issues from the Consolidated Revenue Funds of the Federation, the total sum of 48,342,242,591,785 only, for which 3,645,761,358,925 only is for statutory transfers. 14,317,142,689,548 only is for debt servicing. 13,588,9,782,673 only is for recurrent non-debt expenditure, while the sum of 16,765,328,860,740 only is for contribution to the deployment funds for capital expenditure for the year ending on 31st March 2026 and related matters. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
My honorable colleagues, I'm Abubakar Maki Eleman. I'm from Jigawa State. I represent Madam Kaugama Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the motion heavily moved by the Chairman Appropriation. I so second. Thank you.
Those against, you say nay. That is have it. Leader of the House, please can you move for the House to resolve to the Committee of Supply to consider these reports?
Abdullah Ibrahim Aliha lives is my name. I'm from Kogi State. I represent the very marvelous people of Vankpa, Malola, Federal Constituency. I hereby move that the House move into a committee of supply for consideration of this money bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Minority Leader.
That the House do cascade into committee of supply to consider the bill. I so second.
Say aye. Those against you say nay. The ayes have it. House has resolved to the Committee of Supply. Thank you. An act to authorize the issue from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation, the total sum of 43,561,744,507 naira, only, of which 1,742,788,150 naira only is for statutory transfers. 8,270,960,606,831 naira is for debt service. 11,268,513,380,853 naira only is for recurrent expenditure, while the sum of 22,278,780,968,673 naira only is for contribution to the Development Fund for Capital Expenditure for the year ending 31st December 2025. I now invite Honorable Abubakar Kabir Bichi to give the synopsis of the bill.
You may recall that on Friday, 19 December 2025, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, transmitted a letter to the House of Representatives to repeal and enact the bills in accordance with the established constitutional and legislative appropriation process. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, repeal the 2024 Appropriation Act of 35,555,707,218 only, and propose a new act with revised total expenditure of the total sum of 43,561,744,507 only, out of 1,742,786,788,150 only is for statutory transfers. 8,270,960,606,831 naira only is for debt servicing. 11,268,513,380,853 only is for recurrent non-debt expenditure, while the sum of 22,278,780,968,673 only is for contribution to the Development Fund for Capital Expenditure for the year ending on 31st day of December 2025. While for the repeal of the 2025 Appropriation Act of 54,990,165,355,306 and enact a new bill to authorize the issuance from Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation the total sum of 48,316,242,591,795, out of which 3,392,960,000 645,761,358,925 only is for statutory transfers. 14,317,142,689,548 only is for debt servicing, while 13,588,9,682,673 only is for recurrent non-debt expenditure, while the sum of 16,765,328,860,740 only is for contribution to the Development Fund for the capital expenditure for the year ending 31st day March 2026. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the House debated the general principle of the bills, after which they were read a second time and subsequently referred to the Committee on Appropriation for further legislative action. The committee held a meeting with the economic team of the President, comprising the Minister of Finance and the Coordinating Minister of Economy, the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, and the Director General Budget Office of the Federation. The meeting was convened to obtain further insight into justification for the repeal and enactment of the 2024 and 2025 Appropriation Act at this critical time. Highlight of the bills. The highlight of the 2024 Appropriation Act Repeal and Enactment Bill and 2025 are as follows. Aggregate revised expenditure 43,561,744,507 only, while statutory transfers 1,742,786,788,150. Debt servicing 8,270,960,606,831, while recurrent expenditure is 11,268,513,380,853. The capital expenditure is 22,278,780,968,673. Consequently, the highlight of the 2025 Appropriation Act Repeal and Enactment Bill are as follows. Aggregated revised expenditure 48,316,242,591,185. Statutory transfers debt servicing 14,317,142,689,548 naira only, while recurrent expenditure is 13,588,9,782,673 naira. Capital expenditure is 16,765,328,860,640 naira only. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, our observation is as follows. The committee made the following observation and findings. Under the 2024 Appropriation Act Repeal and Enactment, the bill an additional of 8.5 trillion was introduced into the capital component to accommodate special intervention, particularly in response to the security, humanitarian, and economic emergencies. Number two, this initiative seeks to balance responsiveness with fiscal responsibility, ensuring that urgent expenditure do not weaken legislative oversight or undermine fiscal prudence. Observation number three, under the 2025 Appropriation Act Repeal and Enactment, the bill, the sum of 6.674 trillion was reduced from the capital allocation and rolled over to 2026 fiscal year due to funding constraints. The initiative is expected to make the budget effective in meeting the expenditure of the governors given the anticipated increase in revenue generating profile in the next fiscal year. Our observation number 4, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the continuation of the practice of rolling budget cycles concurrently, such as extending the implementation of the 2024 Appropriation Act deep into 2025, while the 2025 budget is in force, affects the budget clarity and weaken fiscal discipline. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, we recommended that, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the committee hereby recommend that the House do consider and approve the Repeal and Enactment Act of the 2024 Appropriation Act to authorize the issue from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation the total sum of 43,561,041,744,507 only, out of 1,742,786,150 only is for statutory transfers. 8,270,960,606,831 only is for debt servicing. 11,268,513,380,853 only is for the current non-debt expenditure, while the sum of 22,278,780,968,673 only is for contribution to the Revenue Fund for capital expenditure for the year ending on the 31st day of December 2025. While the accompanying schedule is detailed as follows. The repeal enactment of the 2025 Appropriation Act, Mr. Speaker, authorized the issue for the Consolidated Revenue Fund operation total of 48,316,242,591,795 only, out of 3,645,761,358,125 only is for statutory transfers. 14,342,142,689,548 only is for debt servicing. 13,588,9,682,673 only is for recurrent non-debt expenditure, while the sum of 16,365,328,860,640 only is for contribution to the Revenue Fund for the capital expenditure for the year ending on the 31st day of March 2026, with accompanying schedule as follows. The House may wish to consider and approve the extension of the capital component of the 2025 Appropriation Repeal and Enactment Bill to the 31st day of March 2026. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleague, on behalf of the committee, I wish to thank the Speaker of the House and the leadership for their support to the committee. I also commend the committee members for their dedication and diligence in ensuring the successful completion of this disciplinary assignment. Mr. Speaker, I so submit. Thank you.
Thank you for the explanation. It is a synopsis he read. So, honorable colleagues, we have heard from the chairman appropriation about the details of the 2024 repeal and enact. I'm sure we're all well guided and enlightened concerning the details of the budget. So with that, I will indulge us to just go ahead and approve the clauses. I think they are 13 in number, beginning with the issue and appropriation of 43,561,041,744,507 507,000 from the Consolidated Revenue Fund for 2024. Carried. 2, release of funds from the Consolidated Revenue. Carried. Environment. Carried. Corrigendum. Carried. Excess revenue. Carried. Authorization. Carried. Or information on funds releases. Carried. Due process certification. Carried. Information on internally generated revenue, domestic and foreign assistance. Carried. Power of Nigerian embassies and missions. Carried. Detailed estimate. Carried. Expiration Constitution 1999. Carried. Short title. Carried. Schedules. Under schedules, we have aggregate revenue inflow. Carried. We have expenditures. Carried. We have share of federation revenues. Carried. We have deductions. Carried. We have net of federation revenues. Carried. Independent revenues. Carried. Dividends. Carried. Aids and grants. Carried. Special levies and accounts. Carried. Revenue net of operating surplus. Carried. Others. Carried. Statutory transfers. Carried. Debt service. Carried. Allocation to federal executive bodies. Carried. Capital expenditure for ministries. Carried and MDS. Total executive. Carried. Multilateral and bilateral funded projects. Carried. Total capital supplementation. Carried. Total capital expenditure. Carried. Aggregate expenditure. Carried. Thank you very much. Long title. Carried. Thank you, honorable colleagues. So we go to the second report. The second report to be considered is a bill for an act to authorize the issue from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation, the total sum of 48,316,242,591,785 naira only, of which 3,645,761,358,925 naira only is for statutory transfers. 14,342,142,689,548 naira only is for debt service. 13,588,9,682,673 naira only is for recurrent non-debt expenditure, while the sum of 16,765,328,860,640 naira only is for contribution to the Development Fund for capital expenditure for the year ending 31st day of March 2026. I now invite the House Leader to give the synopsis. Since the Chairman Appropriation has already combined the synopsis of the two reports, I think we can just go ahead and consider the reports. This bill also has 13 clauses. The first one is issue an appropriation of 48 trillion, 316 billion, 242 million, 591,785 naira. Consolidated Revenue Fund for 2025 carried. The second is release of funds from the consolidated revenue carried. 3, environment carried. 4, corrigendum carried. 5, excess revenue carried. 6, authorization carried. 7, information on funds releases carried. 8, due process certification carried. 9, information on internally generated revenue, domestic and foreign assistance carried. 10, power of Nigerian embassies and missions carried. Long title carried. Thank you very much. Let me also announce for us to put to question the issue of extending the 2025 budget to 31st day of March. The House may wish to consider and approve the extension of the capital components of the 2025 appropriation, repeal and enactment bill to 31st day of March 2026. Carried. Thank you very much. The Leader of the House, please, can you move for the House to revert back to plenary?
I hereby move that the House revert to plenary for consideration of the report. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Minority Leader, please, can you second?
Mr. Chairman, my dear colleagues, I second the motion that we do revert back to plenary to consider the reports. I so second.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. That is have it. House has reverted back to plenary. Thank you very much. The House in Committee of Supply considered the report on the Committee on Appropriation on a bill for an act to repeal the Appropriation Act 2024 and an act to authorize the issue from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation the total sum of 43 trillion, 561 billion, 41 million, 744,507 naira only, of which 1 trillion, 742 billion, 786 million, 788,150 naira only is for statutory transfers. 8 trillion, 270 billion, 960 million, 606,831 naira only is for debt service. 11 trillion, 268 billion, 513 million, 380,853 naira only is for recurrent non-debt expenditure, while the sum of 22 trillion, 278 billion, 780 million, 968,673 naira only is for capital expenditure stroke development fund contribution for the year ending 31st December 2025. And in so doing, we have approved clauses 1 to 3, the schedules and the long title of the bill. Honorable colleagues, the second report, the House in Committee of Supply considered the report of the Committee on Appropriation on a bill for an act to authorize the issue from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation the total sum of 48 trillion, 316 billion, 242 million, 591,685 naira only, of which 3 trillion, 645 billion, 761 million, 358,925 naira only is for statutory transfers. 14 trillion 317 billion 142 million 689,548 naira only is for debt service. 13 trillion 588 billion 9 million 682,673 naira only is for recurrent non-debt expenditure, while the sum of 16 trillion 765 billion 328 million 860,640 naira only is for contribution to the Development Fund for Capital Expenditure for the year ending 31st March 2026 and for related matters, and in so doing, approve clauses 1 to 13, the schedules and the long title of the bill. The House to move for the adoption of the reports.
I hereby move that the House adopt all the consideration. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Dear colleagues, I second the motion moved by the Deputy House Leader. So second.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it.
Right Honorable Speaker, I hereby move that we suspend our rules to move for the third reading of the bill.
Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, to enable us conclude the business of today, I second the motion for suspension of our rules to take the third reading of this bill. Sir.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk.
Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members. A bill for an act to authorize the issue from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation, the total sum of 43 trillion 561 billion 41 million 744,507 naira only. A bill for an act to authorize the issue from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation, the total sum of 48 trillion 316 billion 242 million 591,785 naira only for the year ending 31st March 2026, third reading.
Honorable colleagues, the two bills are read the third time and passed.
Now, those were blow-by-blow highlights and details of the revised budgets for 2024 and 2025, which the Chairman House Committee on Appropriation, Abubakar Kabir Bichi, says needed to be reviewed in order to cater for some critical items not initially captured in those budgets. Now, while lawmakers look forward to consideration and passage of the 2026 appropriation bill, some of them who we interviewed believe the year 2025 has been productive in terms of legislative milestones.
I chair the House Committee on Third Fund and other services. Well, it's been an eventful year, and as a member of the House of Representatives, I'm aware that the 10th House of Representatives, the People's House, has been upbeat with our legislative duties. Top on the beat is the reserve seat bill, the electoral reform bill, the tax reform bill, which we had worked on, and the President has recently assented to, with its enforcement and implementation starting 1st of January 2026. So with all of this that I've mentioned, it goes without saying that the House hasn't been idle. There's been also a lot of bills that have been assented to by Mr. President, two of which are in my federal constituency, the Federal Medical Center Okigwe Establishment Bill and the Federal University Okigwe Establishment Bill. I want to thank Mr. President for assenting to those critical bills which will revolutionize and industrialize the Okigwe federal constituency and the entire zone and Imo State as a whole. Let me also thank Mr. President for assenting to the various regional development bills, the Southeast Development Commission bills, the South-South, the Southwest, Northeast, Northwest, and North Central Development Commission bills. I am very confident that this is a step in the right direction. The action of Mr. President stemming from these bills would broaden the economic and developmental base of the various geopolitical regions of this country. I want to bet anyone who wants to compete with Nigeria economically in the next 10 years that the person will fail. I do not see how all of these regional development commissions would effectively take off like they've been they've been receiving statutory transfers even in the 2026 MTEF that we've just considered. I could see a large chunk of proposals from the projections to the Development Commission. So I see that better days are ahead, and the renewed hope agenda and government of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is going to turn things around. There may have been some dark cloud, but I see a silver lining. I see a ray of hope, and I see all of the reforms that the president has commenced already beginning to translate into good times for Nigerians. I think that the wait is over. I think the worst is over, and only the good times await us. As 2026 beckons, I see a renewed hope in economic diversification. I see better citizens' welfare and participatory development and inclusion, especially as we hope that the reserve seats bill will be passed by both houses and ultimately assented to by Mr. President, releasing over 100 extra seats for women. You'll agree with me that Nigeria has over 50% of its population as women, and throwing this number into the women folk will, in no doubt, increase women's participation both in voting and in the aspiration for power. And that will translate also into livelihood support, increased awareness, and better development for the family. So on behalf of myself and the good people of Okigwe, Onimo, Isi Alambano Federal Constituency, I wish Nigeria a better time. And I want to also use this opportunity to appreciate the chairman of the Progressive Governors Forum, who has led the APC states thus far, distinguished Senator Hope Odedeka Uzodinma, CON, the executive governor of Imo State, and his amiable wife, Lolo, Barrister Chioma Uzodinma, who have held my hand to come to this height. Let me also advise all the Nigerian women seeking political office, regardless of the laws that will be put in place to support or increase women's participation. Every politics is local, and this is an advice to stick with your local political leaders, especially with the governors, because rightly the constitution of our parties is that the governor is the leader of the party in their respective states. Governor Hope Uzodinma has given me the ladder to climb to this height. I recall vividly that the 2023 general election, because of the love he has for my people and for this office, he asked that nobody should compete against me. So I got the APC ticket unopposed. So I tell women that it's not just about having reserved seats. You could have the ticket, and then if you don't have the enabling environment and the necessary resources to win an election, you could be nominated as a party candidate, and you may not win. But he has not only supported my candidature, but he also supported that I be here. And I'm also hoping that in 2027 he will do the same, so that we will remain in office. A lot is being said about reserved seats to bring more women into national politics, but very little is being said about reserving the few women we have in the National Assembly. Consolidation is a very key factor and fact that must be considered. It's only Jesus Christ who left 99 sheep and went to look for one and came back and met them there. In politics, if you leave 99 and you go to look for one, by the time you come back, they're all gone. And it's becoming a recurring pattern that every assembly, the number of women keep dwindling and coming down. So let it be a food for thought, and let it be a call for action to ensure that the women we already have in the National Assembly are conserved, are reserved, before we build on with new women coming in, so that we are building on the 14 we have today, hoping that we get more, rather than just hoping that we have so much that the 14 we have are no longer there. Even if we have so many more women in the 11th Assembly and do not have this 14 coming back, there will be loss of institutional memory. Who would be there to help the young and the upcoming women cut their teeth? So I pray that the stakeholders, the political parties, and the governors, and the leadership, and all and sundry, including the media yourself, will help us to propagate the need to reserve the women who are presently in the House, so that we can have more and have our institutional memory.
We give God the glory for giving us the opportunity as members to serve this country. The 10th House of Reps, under the leadership of our Speaker, has done so well in terms of ensuring that we do our legislative duties without bias. We passed so many bills, so many motions that have supported the improvement of this country. We have risen to occasions when the country has been challenged in terms of security. This chamber has not relented in rising to those occasions. We have cooperated with the executive to ensure that the right things are done always. This first part has been very, very successful, and I believe that the second part will be better off. I believe that when we go and come back on the 27th, we again chart new course. You see, Nigeria is very, very strong, very resilient people. Never say die, Nigeria. There were situation when we came in, when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu came in. No, let me go back to the point that when we were doing campaign, when we were aspiring, I told the president then, I said, I don't know why you are coming in at this very bad time. Because then, as chairman of finance, I knew the state of finances of the country. And I knew that we were in terrible shape. A situation where a country was borrowing money to pay salaries. We were printing money to pay salaries. We were printing money to pay, we were borrowing money to repay our loans. Do you understand what I'm saying? When you borrow money to pay loans, it means that the country was in a very, 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 very bad shape. Okay? So it is very important. And I told the president then that I don't know how you are going to cope. And he said, don't worry, there's always a way out. And I also compare his tenure when he was in Lagos. During his first few months or years in Lagos, it was tough. Because he also came in to government in Lagos when the state was in a very bad shape. But see Lagos today. See what it is today. See our country today. We are going to be better off. We've turned around. We are no longer in the danger zone. We've moved out of the danger zone. And so now is to build on all those things. Removing subsidy had led to some challenges for Nigerians. But those are the trying period that we can ever go through. Nigerians, we have now gotten used to it. Prices of fuel are now crashing. Even before we remove subsidy, you have to struggle during Christmas to buy fuel. You have to queue for weeks to buy fuel. Do you understand that? Now there is something like that again. Everything is of the past. How can God give us crude oil? And then we export the crude and bring back the refined products. But today, it's no longer the case. We have refined products in Nigeria. They are now competing. Do you understand? So for me, Nigeria is moving forward. Under this time, we are better off.
I thank God and I thank the leadership of the National Assembly for what has been a very productive legislative year. We've had innovative bills and effective legislation for this year. We've had electoral reforms. Especially for us women, we had the special seats bill that is going through for consideration. And we are looking forward to next year when there will be further debates on the reforms to the Electoral Act, which is very, very key to having successful elections in the country. We are looking forward to the Special Seats for Women bill, which will receive consideration there and hopefully will be passed so that we will increase the participation of women in the National Assembly. As we all know, we are doing this proportionately bad compared to other African countries when it comes to equal representation. So it's our hope and our belief and our prayer that this bill will scale through next year. I want to thank all my colleagues. I want to thank the leadership, and I want to thank the executive for the support they have given us in this 10th Assembly that we've been able to do all of this work. Well, to my constituents, I wish them a peaceful festival period. I wish them God's blessings, and I also want to assure them of my commitment to quality representation. I mean, I joined the National Assembly in October, but in the time that I have joined, I have put through major bills, raised motions of matters of urgent national importance around lead poisoning, and there are also other legislation that I'm going to put forward next year, particularly with regards to state creation and local government creation, and also with the safety along the Shagamu-Benin Expressway, so they can look forward to that. So I wish everybody a happy and peaceful festive period. Thank you.
We give thanks to Almighty Allah for the time well spent. The 10th Assembly, the year 2025 was well spent as far as legislative work is concerned. And the fact that we have a very good leadership, you can see how many kind of bills and motions that members put across, more particularly in the area of matter of urgent public importance, where it affects the life of Nigerians. A lot has been done. We appreciate God. From the Committee of Traditional Institutions, member cut across the state of the Federation, including the FCT. We come together as a statutory committee. We sat together, we agree, we brainstormed to come up with an idea where and how, based on the concept and the dream of Mr. Speaker, that traditional institution this time around, they need to get a constitutional role. I remember when we visit the Sultan of Sokoto, he said, yes, the role is there. They're not asking for the role, but they're asking of what the legal backing of the constitutional role. Indeed, there are lots on the floor needs to be, attended to. There are 5% given to traditional class. The council itself, from the local government, the state council, and the national council, needed to be on board, because with absence of the traditional institution, a lot of things going in Nigeria, it is not in the right direction, or it is not in the favor of the majority of Nigeria. Particularly when you look at the security architectures of Nigeria, there's no way you can discuss security architectures of Nigeria fluently, correctly, and rightly without involving the traditional institution, because they own the land, they own the people, they are closer to the people in the grassroots. When we come back from the break, when it comes to the issue of the passing of the constitutional amendment with regards to the traditional institution, please, I'm saying that the 360 of us, we should please answer the yes instead of the nay. The reason because this is of importance to every Nigerian. Every one of us is key for us to pay attention to it. It happens last time when it gets to the Senate wing, it couldn't pass the date. But this time around, we are calling on our elder brothers, our fathers from the Senate wing, that should do consider the bill of traditional institution as a very, very important element for Nigerian drive forward. And such, we are calling on them. We are doing what is called loving. We are loving everyone, including our sisters' body, the State Assembly, in respected way. We are calling on their attention to when the traditional institution bill comes before them, please, they should do the needful to ensure that the bill has seen the light of the day.
I think legislatively, I can rate us high because a lot of motions, a lot of bill has been moved and attended to, and very importantly, I know the committees on the Constitution Review, the Committee on Electoral Act has done excellently well, to the extent that last week, Wednesday, we were able to successfully pass the new electoral bill, which is, I'm a member of that committee, and I know a lot has been done and a lot has been achieved. And very importantly, in terms of constitutional review, you are aware the committee has been up and doing, and a lot has been achieved. Top on the list is creation of state, which I get to understand that committees were met to agree on bringing one state per each geopolitical zone. In the northeast, where I came from, we have gone far and we have done excellently well. And I know during this recess, we agreed as Northeast, we are going to come up, even though there are a lot of state requests from the Northeast part of the zone, but I have strong belief that at the end of the day, we are going to come up with one state, which probably I don't want to mention, but I have the belief the state will be what everybody in the Northeast will celebrate, and respectively the other zones will do same.
Okay, so what is your message to your constituents this Yuletide season and in the year to come?
Well, what is more importantly is to love one another and to be patient and be prayerful to leaders, because I am very much aware that as Nigerians we are going through a lot in terms of hardship, economic situation is difficult. There are a lot of expectations that are not met. As a government official, I'm very much aware. There is also issue of not proper funding of project. So I want to call for patient understanding and prayers, because as leaders, you cannot do everything. But with patience, with prayers and support, you will be able to achieve a lot. And I wish especially my Christian brothers and sisters a Merry Christmas and prosperous New Year celebration.
All right, those were some of the views of some lawmakers on the legislative process in 2025. Now, the House of Representatives has passed the Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2025, which aims to strengthen the powers of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, as well as tighten electoral procedures and also address gaps exposed during past elections. It is expected that the bill will be transmitted to the Senate for concurrence, and thereafter the joint Senate and House committees on electoral matters will harmonize the report in a conference committee and transmit same to the President for assent. And that, of course, will now be in the first quarter of 2026. Let's see a debate on the issue of overvoting during the consideration of the amendments to the Electoral Act 2022.
I will yield the first right to Honorable Fulata to raise the issue he raised with regards to Section 51 which he has spoken about severally on the issue of overvoting, because it might affect you or I. I remember I was presiding the day he brought this matter up, and I assured him that the Committee on Electoral Affairs will include this. Chairman, I want you to sit and listen to this conversation, and then make sure we find a way we can infuse it into this document. The floor is yours now, Honorable Fulatu.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My respected colleagues, I made reference to this section because of the importance of the issue at stake, Mr. Chairman. Honorable colleagues, many were affected by the provisions of this section through litigations. Many have won elections and they were robbed of their election. Opponents target the strongholds of their colleagues by identifying major polling units where they get most of their votes. An individual will just go there, add one vote over and above the number of registered voters in that polling unit, and then someone who got 2,000 in that polling unit gets his election.
You are preaching to the converted. What is the amendment you want to make with 51?
My amendment goes like that.
That is on page 40. Yes, gentlemen, honorable colleagues, open page 40 so that we can look at 51 together.
Yes, this is my amendment, Mr. Chairman, sir. Where the number of votes cast at an election in any polling unit exceeds the number of accredited voters in that polling unit, the presiding officer shall deduct the number of excess votes across all political parties in that political unit, and the presiding officer shall be prosecuted in accordance with the provisions of Section 145 of this Act. This is my amendment, sir. Since we don't know who put the extra votes, but we presume that it is the loser.
Okay, so it means that the extra vote will be divided equally across all the parties.
Yeah, because we don't know who put the extra votes, sir.
What of if the number you are now giving to a party that had their name on the ballot paper exceeds the ballot paper that was thrown in there for that party? For example, when you prorate it and it goes to each party 20, 20, 20, okay, across the 5 political parties, and then the ballot paper that enters for party A had about 2. How will you deduct 20 when he had only 2?
That is 0. That is only 0. That's only 0. That's all. It is only 0.
Honorable colleagues, this suggestion is very good. But we must think about the operationalization and then factor it in in the construction of our drafting.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
So my question again is, I want you to help the House.
Yes, sir.
How do we share fairly in a just way so that nobody will be shortchanged and justice will be done? Yes, I want you to speak first, yes.
This is very trickish and very technical, sir. And I really want us to be guided, sir. It's about voting above
Deputy Chairman Finance, write the names of everybody here. Deputy Chairman Finance.
It's about the voting that is more than the accredited voters. So which means, by my own understanding, sir, if the accredited voters on that day is 100, and the number of votes casted, total casted, become 110. So something fishy could be there. So the INEC staff that is there must have issued 100 voters. Above that, they can use the number of names on the list because the election materials is serial. They can match this and they can easily detect where this additional 10 is coming from. That is why I said it is technical and trickish, sir. we can easily do this and get to where we're going, because anybody can print additional ballot paper and drop it there. By the time they look at the serial number and the number of people who got what, they will identify who actually got what and how these 10 got there. Because the additional 10 cannot come from heaven and cannot just drop in the ballot paper.
Excuse
it's multiple voting.
Please. The scenario remains, I know I am not strong in this your polling unit. And I know that is your area of strength. If you go by that area of strength, you are going to win me. I have fewer followers there. So why the more followers we are voting for you, original votes, I will now tell my own fewer followers to drop more than one inside the box for you. Not for themselves, for you, so that they can cancel that area, which is unfair to you. It's actually fraud. How do we balance it out to know original, to know the wheat, separate the wheat from the tar, using our law?
Mr. Chair and distinguished colleagues, this is area where we have ballot boxes being stuffed by ballot papers.
We know, give us
the area where how we're going to handle it, there will be a need because each ballot paper has a serial number. And each one that is accredited, you can tie it to the serial number. So the way out is for them to recount, go through the serial number and displace and discountenance those who were not serially accredited and recount. When you recount, by the time you discount those that were not accredited, in line with the serial number, you have the actual number of the people that have voted. Then you carry out a recounting and give it to various political parties. That's the way.
Do you know that if you stand up to talk, tell me what you want it to read like? Let's not go into debate. We already know what the problem is. We are looking for how do we draft our laws to be able to block that mischief. Over to you.
I'm going differently, sir. Because I recall when this matter came up for second reading, the same interest it elicited that day. There was heated debate here. And in fact, I recall that I even took this house on a mathematical excursion, doing calculations. My fear and concern is that we need to confirm whether this bill passed second reading that day. We need to reconfirm. That's what I'm saying, because it was
Let's confirm. Wait. You raised a good point. Chairman, do you have a referral from the clerk saying that this bill has been referred to you?
Yes,
after passing through second reading?
Yes, it went through the second reading.
If we ask you to bring it tomorrow, you can bring it.
I have a copy of the bill on my phone. I have a copy of the bill on my phone. But the issue is, two issues are what we...
No, I didn't ask you for the issue. I just wanted you to confirm if they communicated you. Okay?
Yes.
So it passed second reading and you were communicated.
Yeah.
Let me hear you.
The issue is that if we painstakingly go through this, we might end up causing greater mischief than what we want to cure. Now, the current law is that where there is overvoting, that particular unit is cancelled and the election rescheduled within a particular time, either 24, 48 hours for that particular unit. If we begin to share the excess votes equally, I gave an example, I will still give the same example. A unit, you have 400 votes, and then Mr. A gets 250 votes. Mr. B gets 50 votes. The man who got 50 votes now stuffs and makes it over 400 votes. When you remove it and share it equally, he will still win. He will still win the popular candidate. So sharing what amounts to illegality equally, I don't think it's a solution. Let us allow what we have. If there is overvoting, cancel that unit and go back to election within 48 hours. The person who is popular in that unit will still win the election, sir. That's my position, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I believe we are making these laws for us to have free and fair elections. And we are trying to simplify the election processes for both the masses and the candidates. Where we have overvoting, Mr. Chairman, I am on the view that we count the votes. Because as you said earlier, one can sabotage, a polling unit where he realized he's not winning. So it has been happening. We have been all victims of this overvoting in 1 or 2 polling units. Where you cancel it, Mr. Chairman, you are adding burden to the candidate because the procedure of having re-election and also sponsoring, we're trying to minimize the cost that we will use in order to for that election. So we can count it across all the parties that are on that polling unit so that we can deduct from it. Assuming we have 5 votes, excess votes, and we have 6 parties that contested. So, we have 6 votes, excess votes, and we have 6 parties. So if we count it across all those 5 parties, we picked 1 from each and every party, one will be remaining. So we can take it from the winning party. Yes, we can take it from there, the extra one, and he will still win his election, unlike taking him into another burden of getting having re-election in that polling unit, Mr. Chairman. This is my submission.
Right, thank you, Honorable Abian.
There are no perfect laws. The tragedy of what we are discussing here stems from the insincerity.
Please, please, Deputy Chairman Finance, not anybody who walks in now, when that rule was given, it's only for those who are here, not people walking in now. Please be mindful.
We are having this headache because of the insincerity of actors. And if we want to cure it 100%, it might be challenging.
Anybody here after 4:30? Deputy Leader, Deputy Finance, are you listening? Anybody who comes after 4:40 now, draw the auditing line, okay?
So we have to find a middle ground to improve on what we have and ensure that what we are doing will benefit us ultimately. Mr. Chairman, you are aware that I have had the privilege, very rare one, to observe elections in neighboring West African countries. And I can tell you that they don't have this challenge that we're talking about. They are honest with their process. It's the level of dishonesty that is putting us through this. And if you want to cancel the unit and ask people to go back for rerun, there are issues, sir. One, the candidates will need to spend more money. 2, somebody who is not popular in those units can be popular in other ways. You can go and amass whatever and force yourself through the rerun. It has happened to us, sir. In 2015, our elections were nullified. And most of the people who won at first ballot didn't make it because of the external factors. One point we have to impute in this should be the prosecution of the presiding officer. The officers at that polling unit where this overvoting takes place should be prosecuted. If it is in the law, it will deter us enough. So I submit, sir, that we take a difference between the accredited voters and the actual votes. The difference, let everybody bear the pens. Spread it across the political parties that are there. Everybody have the pens. Then you prosecute the officers. Next time, they will not do it. Thank you.
That we need to vote on.
Mr. Chair.
Can you put it, who can put it in a motion?
Chair. Mr. Chair.
Can you move it as a motion?
Mr. Chair.
If you want this amendment, move a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I hereby move a motion that
Section 51 be amended. Section 51 sub 1 sub 2 should read as follows: that the excess vote be spread across the political parties in that particular polling unit, and the presiding INEC officer to be prosecuted. Yes.
What? That what?
Should be deducted and spread. Yes, and divided across the political parties now. Forget the how. We will meet the how at the polling unit, not here.
You are saying that the extra votes should be deducted
and spread
across
equally
the board, across the parties.
Yes.
Any seconder, Baba, you want to say something?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
What I'm saying is that his suggestion, where the votes is shared across board and it comes excess as a fraction, what happens?
Because what?
It comes excess as a fraction. If there are
that fraction will be declared a non-valid vote.
Mr. Chairman, it reads, where at an election the total number of votes cast in any polling unit exceeds the number of accredited voters for that polling unit, the presiding officer shall deduct excess votes proportionately across all political parties in that polling unit and shall be liable to prosecution in accordance with the provisions of Section 145 of the Act.
Who shall be liable?
Sir?
The presiding officer that has done the...
Yeah, this is the recounting. So that proportionately, he would deduct the vote proportionately across the political parties.
And after that, be punished?
Yes.
Okay.
Because he allowed it.
Okay. Any seconder to that?
I remain Honorable Usman Murtalaba, a member representing people of Patagara, Cherenchiri Federal Constituency. I rise to second the amendment made by my senior colleague, Honorable Sada Soli. I so second.
Those against any? The ayes have it. Honorable Sada.
Amendment.
I'm coming back to you.
Amendment, Chair.
Yes, further amendment on that.
Man, I want to bring my mathematics knowledge. What? Chairman, I want to bring my knowledge in mathematics to play here. If a party scores 2 and you minus 3 from what the party scores, the party will now score -1. -1. So I want to amend that provided, and if you say -1, at the final collation, we are going to deduct that -1 from its other result. That is mathematics. So I would like to amend, sir, that provided that the vote is less than the vote obtained by the political party.
No, wait. I think you are confusing the issue. We are saying there is an overvoting. Okay? And we are saying that extra vote.
Yes.
Honorable members, listen.
Yes.
We are saying the extra vote.
Can I give a scenario?
Wait,
okay.
Listen first. Please listen, please. Listen to the chair. There is an overvoting. And that extra vote that made you to get into that overvoting should be calculated and taken out. Whatever that number is, you spread it across those who contested the election. So it's not a minus. It's in addition. Let me finish. If, for example, there are 6 political parties and the extra vote was 7, and you've done your prorating and you share 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. 1 is left. That one you declare it as void vote. Okay? By virtue of this particular provision.
Let me clear the chair. Let me
so where is the minus coming?
Let me come. Now let me even go with your analogy. Let me go with your analogy.
Please let's listen to his explanation.
Please listen to me. Let me go with your analogy. Assuming the party scored 0.
You give it 1.
Yes, if the party scores 0 and you want to subtract from that party across board.
You are not subtracting.
Let me make the point. Let me make the point. You are deducting.
You are not subtracting.
It's not, sir. Let me land. Leader. Chair, let me land. 0 minus 1 is not 0. 0 minus 1. Chair, let me land. Please, I will land in 1 minute.
Okay,
0
let's listen
1
to him,
is not
please.
0.
Let's listen to him, please.
Please listen to me. This is mathematics. This is mathematics.
Okay, let's hear the mathematics.
Listen to me. Chair, if a party scored 0, if you deduct 1 from 0, it's minus 1. So when you want to do final, listen to me. It's mathematics. Listen to me.
Let us hear him.
Listen. If a party scored 0, if a party scored 0,
you are protected, please.
If a party scored 0,
no, lower your voice.
Listen to me. If a party scored 0 and you deduct 1 from 0, it becomes minus 1. So I want to say that provided, this is the cure now, provided the excess vote is less than the vote obtained by the party.
I don't understand what you are saying because you are not deducting from who does not have. You are deducting from the extra vote, whoever it has been given to. If the man is having 5 and you gave him extra 7, and that extra 7 is making him to be over voting, we are saying take that overvoting, which is extra 7, and share it to be an addition to all of them, remaining 1. The motion before the floor is that the person who is having overvoting should not be declared the loser. Rather, the extra vote should be spread across the whole political party, so everybody will be able to have benefit in it. Those in support of this say aye. Aye. Those against say nay.
No.
Let me ask again. Those in support of this say aye. Aye. Those in support of this say aye. Aye. And those against say nay. No. The ayes have it. Okay, Honorable Fulata, can you greet the House?
All right, quite some intense debate on the Electoral Act Amendment Bill on the floor of the House of Representatives. Now, one of the constitutional amendment bills to be considered soon is the Reserved Seat for Women Bill. Let's hear more about this bill from Representative Kafila Togbara, who chairs the House Committee on Women Affairs.
Basically, what this special seat bill is requesting for is for us to have reserved seats for our women in the Senate, in the Houses of Assembly, and in the House of Representatives. In the Senate, we are seeking that we have 1 reserved seat per state for every female senator. We are going to have a woman added to the 3 senators that we have existing in all our states. 1 more extra. Then, for the House of Representatives, we are also seeking for 1 extra to be added to the number of House of Representatives members that we have in each state. For example, in Lagos State, we have 24 members, of which I am the only woman there. So this bill is seeking that we have an additional seat that will be a woman that will be added to the 24 to make 25. Meaning all other political parties represent a woman to contest for this special seat. The Houses of Assembly, this bill is seeking that we have 3 Houses of Assembly members that will be female in every state. In Lagos State, we have 40 members representing in the House of Assembly. I'm giving you as an example. So we are going to be having 1 woman per senatorial district to make 43 members in the Lagos State House of Assembly. So it's just as simple as that. It's not a threat to the existing seats for those who want to return, our men that want to return, or their constituents want them to return. So it's just going to be an additional extra because of the historical, imbalance that we have had and that we have had in terms of women representation. And of course, after our public hearing, advocacy, consultations, and everything with relevant stakeholders, the Senate came down to 6 instead of giving us 37 plus FCT for the Senate as indicated in the bill, as requested in the bill, as the will of the bill. The Senate, members in the Constitution Review, after everything and every consultation and everything, they, trimmed it down to 6 for the whole of the whole country, 1 per geopolitical zone, meaning 1 from the southwest, from the southeast, from the south-south, north central, northeast, northwest, 1 per the zones. So that is what we have for presentation on the floor of the House. But because of other, events, internal issues and all that, the presentation has been halted. But we hope that the presentation will be anytime soon. If we don't have it before our break, we'll definitely, have it as the front burner or resumption in January by the grace of God. So the special seats bill is just a way of trying to, encourage more women, knowing fully well that women have the population of about half of this country. And when you are taking decisions, whether you are making laws, you are making policies, you are planning, whatever it is you are doing as a government or as a nation, whatever it is we are trying to do, and we don't have the right representation of about half of the population, joining in the decision making, or that you are making those decisions for them, you may not be doing the right thing if they are not on the table to say, oh, why don't you add this? Oh, this is the peculiarity of our need. Oh, we need this more than this. So this is how governance can be more impactful. And this is how, we can be sure we are actually getting it right.
And that's the size of this episode of the program from the National Assembly. Do join us again for another episode next week. I am Mitaire Ikben. Enjoy the best of the season.